Following on from the League One playoff final and, of course, the Championship final, we now know the 24 teams that will make up the 2024-2025 Championship season. And in this video, I'm going to showcase you my early door gut reaction and predictions of where they're going to finish next season. We're going to get into it, and it's coming at you next. Another prediction video. Today we're taking a look at the, of course, early door, insanely early 2024-2025 Championship predictions. Where's each team going to finish? Well, we'll show you in a second. If you're new, where you've been, smash your subscribe button. Your one-stop shop for Championship is right here under One Risky. We hope to have an in-depth season next season with matchday predictions, of course, transfer news, all that kind of stuff, and of course, especially with the Blackburn Rovers point of view. We'll get into all of that in a minute. Of course, big shout out to the VIPs. They are the patrons. You know who you are. And again, if you're new, smash your subscribe. But anyway, let's get into it. We're going to start middle of the pack, work our way down. And then, of course, then we do the big climb to the top spot. Who's going up? Who's going down? Let's get into it. Into 13th spot, and maybe, just maybe, I'm a little bit deluded on this one. Blackburn Rovers finishing 13th, that's right. You know, probably getting a little bit ahead of myself. I think we could be looking at more of a season of struggle than a season of success. This would be a big step in the right direction for Blackburn Rovers, but the off-the-season drama's got to kind of get a grip of everything else. Otherwise, we could be finishing in the 20s rather than the teens. But I'm going to be bold, going to be predicted, and they're going to go for 13th for Blackburn Rovers. Into 14th spot we go now. There's the Pandora's box. That is Sunderland, of course. Still don't know who's going to be the manager as of recording. Now, I am coming at you here at the end of May. They may or may not have announced their new manager, but realistically, when you look at what was on the table last time around, if the season was maybe 2 or 3 games longer, they could have been in a relegation dogfight. Can they improve dramatically over the course of the summer? I don't know. So that's why I'm going to edge my bets and say mid-table for Sunderland. 13th for me in the Championship. Into 15th spot we go now in the Championship, and it is the Rams. Derby County are back. Paul Vaughan pulling the strings for Derby. Have they got enough quality? Will they spend big? Of course, they are hoping to make it copy that Ipswich Town blueprint, but is Vaughan the right tactician to get the back-to-back promotions? I don't think so. For me, 15th, and of course, sticking around in the division should be priority number 1. And it is Preston North End. It's the Nobbers. Will Ryan Lowe still be at the charge at Preston North End at the start of the season, let alone the end of the season? Of course, they flirted with the playoffs last time. Will they do it this time? Heck no. They're going to be struggling to avoid the drop. 16th for the Nobbers, and that's Preston North End. Into 17th spot we go now, and it is parachute paymentless Watford. That's right. Of course, Watford now with Tom Cleverley at the helm. Of course, for me, a bit of a bizarre appointment. Yes, he did steady the ship somewhat, but realistically, was that football any good? It was a lot of draws knocking around, and really, has he got the calibre to stick around in the Championship? This is the Championship, guys, and you're going to be up against it this time. I worry for the Hornets. For me, I think they're going to struggle. I think they did finish 15th. I think they're going to go backwards with Cleverley at the helm, and of course, he won't be in the job longer than October. 17th spot, Watford. Into 18th spot we go now, and it's Oxford United. They finally made it. They finally made it to the second tier. This time under Des Buckingham. He's done a fantastic job to get them to this point, riding on, of course, a bit of momentum from the end of the season to drive themselves into the playoffs and, of course, go the distance over in the playoffs and, of course, the final itself at Wembley. Can they compete with the big boys? I think it's going to be a tall order for them. I realistically think that they're going to be struggling with relegation for the majority of this season, but stranger things have happened. I think there may be a couple of teams weaker off than that of Oxford this campaign, so hold tight. It's going to be a season of struggle, but you're going to hang on at the end. 18th for Oxford. 13th spot we go now in the Championship, and it is Stoke City, of course. They did flirt. Well, actually did crank into some sort of form at the end of the season when it did matter the most. And I think it's going to be a situation of rinse and repeat for Stoke this campaign. I'm not much of a believer at the moment of Steven Schumacher. I think he's going to struggle in this division, as are some of the guys that to struggle this campaign. I think the likes of Millwall, Stoke, Plymouth, Rovers as well are going to be right back in the thick of things. It's going to be right. Get back on your heads, boys and girls, because it's going to be another season of struggle for the Potters. And Schumacher could be out of a job come December. Into 20th we go now in the Championship, and it is Cardiff City. That's right, Cardiff City. An awkward team to predict. I don't really know where to go with these guys, and I think it's going to be another season of transition. Balut at their helm did an okay job and did even compete with the playoffs at some stage, but kind of when the needs mattered the most, they kind of got away with themselves, and I just don't know what to expect. They are one of those teams that are like a Sunderland, like a Cardiff, a Swansea even. I just don't know where they're going to finish in the table, but for me, my gut feeling says they'll struggle. 20th, I think I have Cardiff City. Into 21st spot, and just missing out of relegation from the Championship to League One is Liam Manning's Bristol City. They're always a difficult one to call out, and I know they can turn it on, and we were on the receiving end of a bit of a battering by Bristol City at the end of the season, but this campaign, I just don't know what to expect. Of course, Liam Manning, a good young coach, of course, could go, I believe he's got the right tools here, and this is a good appointment for Bristol City. But this division is absolutely cutthroat. Who would have thunk it? The team of Birmingham City to get relegated last season. There's always a couple of surprises in there. I fear for my Rovers team at the moment, but I've just got a gut feeling it's all going to go a bit of a train wreck for Liam Manning and Bristol City this season. I think they're going to struggle. I think they're going to make a last minute call on the managerial situation, and it'll be ultimately too little too late, and Bristol City will ultimately crash back down into League One for the first time in a long time. Into 22nd we go now. It is Swansea City, and goodness gracious me, of course they were towards the bottom end of the table last season, managing to kick in an extra couple of gears to drag themselves out of any potential relegation snafus. But this time around, with the division being so tight, so competitive, we're going to see some heavyweights down the foot end of the table. I think Swansea are going to fall into that category of a relegated side. 22nd for me. I'm not too sure about the coach as well at the moment. He did well with Notts County, got themselves promoted, but is this a step too fast, too soon for Swansea City at the moment? Of course, maybe this team, this coach, and this team of Swansea City, a season in League One could work out for them in the long term. You might thank me in the end, but right now you probably hate me. Swansea City going down. Into 23rd spot we go now over in the Championship, and it's Millwall. Oh my gosh, what am I thinking? Of course, they had a great end of the season with Neil Harris. But this Neil Harris we're talking about, of course, formerly of Cambridge, formerly of Gillingham. Of course, yes, he is Millwall through and through, and that passion will get you so far. But this division is going to be ruthless next season, and I see a season of struggle for Millwall. They could be going back down to League One after finishing 23rd. Into 24th spot over in the Championship, and it is the Green Army. It is Plymouth Argyle. They managed to hang on in the Championship last campaign. This campaign coming up, of course, going to be completely different. Not sure who the manager is going to be. A lot of names flying around, of course, at the moment. And their budget still probably going to be one of the smallest of the top 24 of the 24 teams in this division. For me, I think they'll struggle, and I think they could go right back down to League One. Into 12th spot we go now over the Championship, and it is the champions of League One. It is Portsmouth, of course. John Mousinho's boys back in the big time. I'm going to call it the big time. The big time once again, the second tier of English football. It's been a long time, and I'm glad they're back. Of course, Fratton Park is a crazy venue, and these fans are loud and proud, and they're going to roll their boys up to 12th this season in the Championship. Not, of course, and I think it should be they could try and mimic that of Ipswich Town. I don't think their football was as fluid as Ipswich Town, but they can be a problem for the big boys, but they can be, of course, found out from some of the minnows as well. They could be, I feel, a mid-table sort of finish for them, definitely away from the drop zone and not too far away from those playoffs. Ice cold, of course, into 11th spot it is Sheffield Wednesday. Wow, wow, wee, wow, of course. Now Danny Roller's got these guys working a treat, and I think the mentality can project them into the right direction. I think they're going to finish around about mid-table, 11th spot for me. But will Danny Roll get the backing from the coach? If so, they could maybe even flirt with the players, because the resurgence, the team bonding is there. They just need to turn that into results on the pitch, and I think they're heading in the right direction. Sheffield Wednesday could be challenging for players, but for me, 11th this season. Spot we go now over the championship, and it is QPR. Q's Park Rangers to you and me, and Cofientes is the key to not only survival but progression this time around. Of course, come in when QPR were struggling and turn them into a very difficult unit to beat. They've got some exciting players in there, and of course the scenario around Ilias Chair is also one that's got me thinking: is he going to be available next season, or with of course that jail sentence hanging over his head? I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I know Cofientes, if he's still there at the charge in Loftus Road, they're going to be a team to fear next season. Into ninth spot we go now over in the Championship. This is a strange one. I'm coming at you here with Hull City now. I was more leaning towards ninth with a Liam Rossigna in charge, but Hull City have decided to part company with Rossigna, and of course consider, I think there's a German's name banded about. He may be confirmed whenever this video goes live, but for me, I think regardless if it's Rossigna or this German fella, I don't think they're going to make playoffs. Ninth, there's going to be another season of a bit of a letdown in the end for Hull City, despite spending a bit of cash. Into eighth spot we go now in the Championship, and it's the Hatters. That's right, Luton Town. Everyone's going to tip them to go back at the first time of asking, and they might compete with those top two spots, but it is the Championship. It's a funny old game, funny old world, and I think Luton Town are likely to lose some of their key players that gave them the belief last time around. Is Edwards the man? Has he got the cojones to do it again in the Championship? For me, I don't know. Eighth place, it's going to be tight. Am I right or wrong? Let me know down below. Into seventh spot now we go over the Championship, and it is Coventry City. Of course, Mark Robbins has done a fantastic job with, of course, Coventry over the years. So close to playoffs a couple of seasons ago, missing out just last year. I think they're going to be a little bit closer to the glory this time around, but ultimately missing the trick by just one or two spots. I've got them down at seventh. It might be less than that. It might even be playoffs. They're in the right hands, but how long will the board stick by Robbins? That's, of course, the question. Into sixth spot now over in the Championship, and it is West Bromwich Albion, of course, still managed by Carlos Carvalhan as of recording. Will he change? Will he move? Who knows? The jury is out, but of course, playoffs last time around. Playoffs this time around, of course, they've got enough quality in the tank to compete once again. They're just one of those awkward kind of sides that may not have that. Well, they definitely don't have the budgets of the teams gone by, or the teams that dropped down from the Premier League. But they've definitely got some savviness in regards to transfer business. I think they'll need some good recruitment this time around, but I don't know where the money is going to come from. I still think they can compete though and be in the playoffs once again. Into fifth spot we go now, and it is currently managerless Norwich City. That's right. Forever the bridesmaid, never the bride. Stumbled at the last hurdle against Leeds United. And of course, Wagner is no more. A good chance for Norwich to reset the blocks, reset the clocks, and go again with another manager. A lot of good names banded around, and as of recording, they've got no one lined up, but I think with that right man, Norwich City, the Canaries, can challenge again and maybe join their fellow East Anglian rivals in the Premier League next season. For me, they're going to finish in fifth. Into fourth space we go now over in the Championship, and it is Chris Wilder's Sheffield United, of course relegated last season in the Premier League. This time around, they're going to try and have to do it the hard way, courtesy of the playoffs. I think this season in the Championship is going to be just as tough as the last one. You just don't know. The relegated teams will compete, I'm sure, for the top two and the playoff spots, but some people or some teams are just not going to have that quality. And of course, for Sheffield United, I think keeping hold of Wilder is massive. Will he be given the season to get them back? And of course, keeping hold of some of that quality. They won't have the goals of Diaz. I doubt he'll drop down to the Championship after having a successful couple of months for Sheffield United. So where the goals going to come from, what the team's going to look like, those are questions to be said over pre-season. But the Blades should be competing in the top four. Into third spot, unlucky for some over in the Championship. It will be Vinny Kompany's Burnley, of course, just missing out on the top 2 spots, not getting automatic promotions this time around. But they're going to be there or thereabouts, of course, with a bit of investment. Their owners are still excited. Their owners are still going to back a Kompany. But can they keep a hold of Kompany? Of course, he could have left for pastures new when they got promoted last time around. Stuck it out, bit of loyalty with the coach, and that's going to reward them freaks at the end of the season. I think they're going to be just there or thereabouts. They'll compete for the top 2, just like Leeds did. But I think 2 teams are better off, are going to be in a better situation ahead of Burnley this time around. So playoffs, but what happens after that, who knows? Into second spot we go now, and it is Middlesbrough with Michael Carrick at the helm, getting it right, third time of asking. How are they going to do it? Well, they're going to do it with, of course, Latty Lath. I think he's going to be an incredible player next season. He's scored a shit ton load of goals last season, and of course a full campaign with Carrick moving in the right direction will have them challenging not only for, of course, promotion, but finishing within the top 2 spots. So me, keep an eye on Middlesbrough and Michael Carrick. They're going all the way. The top spot we go. It is Leeds United in the Championship. They're going to get over the line this time around, but of course question marks will remain. Will Farker be the man pulling the strings at Ellen Road? For me, the jury is out. They might go a different route. He might already be fired by now, but if Leeds next season get it right with the right appointment, they'll be back in the Premier League in the big time. Well, there you have it, folks. There you bloody have it. That's my instant take on the 2024-2025 season. Who I think will go up, who I think will go down, and of course who will be in the middle, of course, in the discussions with both playoffs and relegation. We'll get into all of it, of course, over the course of the season. We'll come back maybe in a month-by-month basis, give you, of course, my changes. The managerial merry-go-round is in full flux in the Championship with discussions as of recording. Sunderland, Hull, Norwich, there might be more as well, so lots of changes could happen and maybe influence my decisions of where they're going to finish next season. There's some good managers out there, so if they get the appointment right, then of course they could change my POV. But that's it. Subscribe, smash the like. We'll be back, of course, for some more content over the next few days. Until then, we are done.